So I grew up sheltered. I'm 25 years old and I make some content about it. A lot of people sometimes comment, what do you do when you're trying to get your parents to understand that you're growing up, that you want to be your own person? They don't allow you to be your own person. They're still in that very overprotective, like, I tell you what to do, you listen to me. I want you to be a doctor, you're gonna be a doctor vibe. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't hang out with them, you can't hang out with that. A lot of people comment like, how do you deal with that? And I'm gonna give you guys some tips on how to, and I'm going to start off by saying it's not easy. I call it like a gray area, and I say that because it is a hard area to navigate. Okay, I can't even lie. Especially if you still live in the home, especially if you still live at home with the same people, the same parents, guardians, whoever raised you like that. Because just because you turned a certain age, they probably still gonna act the same. That's the problem. It's usually around the ages like 17-ish to like 26 when you're truly becoming a young adult. And it's a hard place because you are grown, but you're not grown, but you are grown, but you're not grown. Some people do move out. I moved out at 18 with a boy, and it still was dealing with the effects of it. Some people stay at home and then they're home till they're about 25 maybe. So now you're like really getting grown, but you still live under their care. You're in their home, under their roof. So these are some things you can do. I promise you, I can't lie to you. It's not going to be easy, and you're really, really, really going to have to practice and master and learn and strengthen your resilience during this time. So the first thing I will highly, 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 highly recommend is getting into therapy. And if you are younger, it's harder because they do report things back to your parents, I understand. But if you can just start with listening to podcasts, listening to books, listening to interviews. And I highly suggest doing these things not in the presence of the person. Don't, like, you can, but if you feel like they're going to try to take things away from you because you're trying to heal, you're trying to learn better or do better, I would say I used to go to the library all the time. I couldn't go anywhere, but one place I could go was the library, and that's where I learned so much about healing, growth, my body, myself, because I grew up in a sheltered household. So a lot of the things I learned were outside of the home, and I would use the library as a way to get on the computer, to read books, and I would just really hyperfixate on that because I needed to get out mentally and physically. You can try to talk to them. A lot of them may not understand, so if talking to them isn't an option, that's why I say you're just going to have to strengthen your mental and mind over matter. That's why I recommend therapy. It can be afforded through your healthcare if you have healthcare. Honestly, it is a mind over matter thing. You have to tunnel vision, make a goal. If you want to get out, you want to get your own apartment, make that goal. I used to be a workaholic because I knew that I wanted to get out. I used to do hair. I used to have a part-time job. I used to be so good at stuff. People would just pay me to do it. I would charge for it. I've always had money as a kid. Once I turned like 14, 15, I always had my own money. There's going to be a lot of tears. There's going to be a lot of isolation. You're going to have to set boundaries. And something I learned is you don't have to physically tell somebody your boundaries. If you want to say to your parent, oh, I'm not going to talk to you no more because this and that, they're probably not even emotionally mature enough to understand. They're probably going to get mad. You set a boundary and you do it for yourself. You isolate, you hold back energy if you have to do that. It's different for different scenarios, but mainly this is like the basis of what I did on that way out journey. And what I recommend you do during that gray area of like, oh, they want me to be a doctor, but I want to be like a tattoo artist. Hun, you're going to have to let them think you're going to be a doctor and you're going to be a tattoo artist. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. Some people don't understand that. I've learned through being grown up sheltered. I believe a lot of it was through control and fear and like a false control. They probably feel like they're doing what's best for you, but it's not best for you out of fear. Or they feel like having control over you is having control over themselves, which is them needing to go to therapy, but they don't go to therapy. Yeah, so it's definitely a hard place to navigate. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do and just not talk about it. Me personally, I got closer to God. I would highly recommend that if you are somewhat spiritual or if you have any sort of like base that you can go back to, because to me getting closer to God was one of the best things I ever did to help me through such a healing season and an isolated season. Because even if you do move out, you're going to go through a lot of emotions. They're still going to contact you. You might have to go into contact with your own parents. That is a hard thing to navigate. So let me know if there's anything else y'all want me to talk about, but this is kind of how I would navigate that great area of 17 to 26, trying to get out and all of that. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it is mainly mind over matter. It is mainly tunnel vision. It is mainly healing yourself, because you can't make someone else heal. Once you heal yourself, you can walk into that chaotic environment, and I'm a living testimony. You can walk into the same chaotic environment, same traumatic, toxic environment, and feel nothing. In terms of like, you're so healed that you understand what's going on and it doesn't faze you. You actually feel grace and compassion for the people, and you just try to help them in the way that you can without overextending yourself. So let me know what y'all think about this, or let me know y'all scenarios if y'all want to DM me or comment any other suggestions. But this is what I have in terms of what I did and I'm now 25.